Morning, people. Start of day 3 of the Great Rugger Run, and one of the things that I'm interested in doing is just discovering new clubs as I go along, and I'm here at one this morning which I didn't know about until a couple of days ago. It's called Veor RFC, and it's down here near Camborne. And just going to start off here by, look at this pitch. Look how beautiful that grass is, just absolutely pristine here. It's part of the cricket outfield, so they like to keep it nice and short, but it's just another gorgeous place to play rugby. Going to wander up here to the clubhouse now and meet a couple of people. Well, one person actually. Got to try and keep my feet dry on this dewy morning grass. Here we are, Veor RFC. Come on into the clubhouse with me. And we're going to meet one of the people that rugby clubs are built around, really, people like this. Say good morning, Scott Lake. How are you, Scott?
Very well, yourself?
Yeah, good. And what's your role here at Veor?
I'm now chairman of the club. I've been here for 11 years and I've been chairman for the last nearly 3.
Right, and you're also a player?
Yes, I play still for a couple more years, yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, and how old were you when you became chairman?
I was 27.
27 years old as a chairman of a rugby club is, I think, the youngest I've ever heard of, certainly.
Yeah, I think there might be a couple other younger ones that I've met at the RFU Awards, but yeah, it's pretty young and hopefully can do it for a while, as long as the missus lets me.
Now, we spoke last night. I'm interested in your setup in terms of the youth committee that you've got here as well.
Yep.
Or, can you say a little bit about that and how that works for you?
Basically, we have a players committee under the executive committee, which basically feeding ideas, and 2 of those players then come onto the senior committee every year, which is normally we try to add at least 2 under 35s to the committee to basically bring a freshness. So when the older members of the committee do choose to move on, we've got younger committee guys who are willing to step up and already have been in a committee role, so it's easier to adjust.
Yeah, so it's almost like succession planning, really. It's just keeping things moving.
Yeah, plan long term, and hopefully then it gives people time to learn a role and feel more comfortable, so they might take a further role on when there's the next lot coming through.
Nice, good stuff. Okay, let's go and take a little walk around the clubhouse here. I was taken aback by your storeroom in here.
Yep.
And let me go in first and just show the people how tidy and organised is this. Now I understand you've got a pretty strict rota of how you organise all this kind of stuff. So what does it mean to be a player for Veor, and what's expected of you if you're a player at this club?
Basically, we expect everyone to buy into the ethos of the club, which is hard work. Volunteer, put your hands up, and basically buy into what we agree, which is that everyone does their bit, whether that be a match day rota with helping clean the changing rooms, storerooms, putting the flags out, taking the shirts in, and everyone does their bit weekly, which means that the players, we feel like, get a better bond because they feel like that they're putting as much work in to get the rewards.
Yeah, I think that's a really healthy way to do it, isn't it? Yeah. So essentially, the whole match day experience, really, aside from coaching, is all run by the players.
Yeah, the players basically set their own times, their own setup, and then the players govern it themselves. We sometimes have to make sure with certain individuals that it works. But yeah, majority of the time, the players are pretty good. They buy into it, and when new players come to the club, they realise pretty quickly that the way we do things, and luckily they've bought into it too. Nice,
good stuff. Now, there was something else out here that caught my interest, which I think might possibly have a story behind it. These look like, well, you tell me, what are these and where did you get them from?
They are obviously the Premiership post pads. We had a couple of contacts who played, obviously, or been involved in Premiership clubs, and one of them came to the club a few years ago and did a bit of coaching, and he basically said that we could have them, and they are really good. Just they take up a lot of room, so they're a bit of a nightmare on match day carrying them in and out. But yeah, they're a really nice touch.
Is that the least liked job out of the people on the rota?
Yeah, people don't like carrying them in very much, especially when it's wet.
Yeah.
They get really heavy. Yeah, unfortunately, they're a bit too big to fit in the storeroom.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Never mind. Okay, let's come back over here and just stand by the light here. Come stand here for me, Scott. And lastly, I understand that you are the RFU Volunteer of the Year for this year. Let me just have a little look at that on there.
Yeah, that was a bit of the free stash.
Bit of free stash. Everybody loves a bit of free stash. So tell me about that and what's been involved in it.
Well, basically, I was nominated in April, and then in May I was contacted to say that I'd been shortlisted, basically into I think it was the final 60 something then, and then I was contacted again in July to say that I've been made the final 12, which of 3 categories, and obviously one of them being the RFU Beyond Rugby Volunteer of the Year. And then we was invited to Twickenham, did lots of things, tours, and it's basically everyone kind of shared their story of what got them to the point. So, for example, for myself, it was what we did for the food bank during the pandemic, putting events on for the local charities who couldn't run events themselves due to the restrictions. And then, luckily, I won the whole thing. So, yeah, it was kind of a surreal moment because you see all these stories of people that do great things, and for a small club like us to even be recognised, to be chosen was initially a good thing, but I never thought that I'd win.
Yeah.
And yeah, so basically since then it's kind of spiralled, and obviously it gives the club a good note, and hopefully it's meant that the charities can get some more exposure that we support.
Yeah. What was that moment like for you when you heard your name read out? It was in the Rose Suite?
In the Spirit of Rugby,
Sorry,
yeah.
Spirit of Rugby.
Yeah. It was kind
Twickenham.
It was great, but scary when you realise you had to then speak in front of everyone that was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
interviewed by the legend
Alex Payne.
Yeah.
Yes, he interviewed me, and he was really good. I tried getting away, thinking I'd just take the award and go. It didn't work that way, and it was great. It was obviously like a proud moment for myself and the club and my family, which obviously you realise at those moments that sometimes it's worthwhile, but obviously the commitment you give to leave your like family at times and calls in the evenings, it kind of all works up to getting an award like that. But hopefully anyone that volunteers is appreciated. But obviously for me, it was just like I was the figurehead, but there's a lot more people than me that kind of deserve the award, really.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Let's go outside and talk about one of these charities now, because I know it's very close to the club's heart here. Here's Malcolm. Who is it? Here. So this is Finn's Army. Could you tell me a little bit about Finn's Army and when it got set up and what it's all about, what you guys do here?
Basically, Finn's Army is a charity run by a family who their child was poorly. So they chose to, after he was recovered or in recovery, to put a charity together to help other families that were in their situation. So around 4 years ago, we obviously, with them being local, we thought we'd buy into a charity. We do a few things with different people, but this was the main support with the players having, obviously most of us having children. We realised that any one of us could be in that situation at any time. So we felt like that we wanted to follow them and get on their initiatives. So we ran numbers of fun days, which is obviously funded them to be able to get proper good equipment, to get iPads, which obviously is a massive effect in the pandemic when they were short, because obviously people couldn't go and visit their loved ones. So
that meant they could
then communicate more at home, and they were short of them. So we managed to run another fun day to get more of them. Things for when children went to operations to kind of focus, to distract them from like needles, etc. And then obviously in the last few years we've managed to do the Christmas giveaway, which is obviously the one that we'll start again soon, which is presents to go to all local hospitals in Cornwall, West Cornwall, Barncuse and Trelisk, and they go to children and families who are in hospital over the Christmas period, as well as chocolates and stuff for the staff who look after them. Yeah. Because they give up their time and they lose their Christmas, so we feel like that one gift may make a difference and give them a bit of happiness over there.
And how many toys are you hoping to get this year?
My aim is 1,000. Whether we get to it is a different story, but that would be the aim. And I think anything over, like, if we can work towards half of that, then I think we're in a good place. We're lucky that a few people already buy into it, and a lot of our sponsors of the club also buy into it, the initiative, and hopefully over the last 2 years it's grown. Hopefully this year it will grow again and we can make a difference to more children's lives.
Yeah, good man, good stuff. Now, lastly, this is essentially a proper grassroots club here.
Correct.
So tell me a little bit about what's expected of people on a match day, post-game in particular.
Well, as soon as the game finishes, they're expected to get everything in. That's the first thing. And then basically after the changing rooms, the players, basically we make sure it's all tidy, because we feel that the volunteers of the committee do a lot of time anyway, so we feel that the minimum that the players can do is clean it up after them, because the committee do a lot in the week to put them on the pitch anyway. And then when we go to the bar, we expect a proper grassroots club. We expect everyone to come in. We find anyone that goes home without a viable reason. We expect that community spirit, because I think away from rugby, if you don't have that social, then I think players and clubs will struggle more. I think if you have that ethos of that we're all mates, and I think you'll get players buy into it. And luckily, a lot of the players have been here long term because of, I believe because of that. You'll also you lose players along the way, but we're a big thing about ex-players doing sponsors days and etc.
Yeah.
And we normally get a lot of ex-players coming because they still, even though they don't play anymore, they believe in what the reputation they've left has been carried on.
Yeah, okay, brilliant. We'll finish it there. Scott, brilliant. Thanks so much.
Right.
I've really enjoyed being here today and meeting you.
Best of luck.
Thank you. And I'll
Take care.
just finish this off. So that's Veor RFC here. Great, beautiful little club here, doing things very much still the grassroots way and the traditional way in a world of ever-changing games, you know. So fair play to them. I'm going to be getting on the road now and heading down to Redruth. So I'll see you when I get there. Cheers.